And we're back, and we're back, and I really want to jump on today and talk about student loans, right? I heard today on the news that President Joe Biden, is in talks and in kind of negotiations where he wants to eventually forgive a lot of student loans for a lot of Americans. And I think this is something that's going to probably help a lot of individuals and put a different task as far as building wealth and being better and being able to afford certain things that they weren't affording before. But can it be something that change people's lives, right? Our student loan forgiveness that they're trying to pass by, I believe, by the government. So right now, I was reading an article where millennials, such as myself, we, for the most part, we are embarked with student loans, right? We come out of college, we have 30, 40, including myself, $50,000 coming out of school. Sometimes people have six-figure loans, and oftentimes we've been promised false promises, right? We've been taking out all these loans for jobs that barely pay above minimum wage, and you still got to find a way to pay your rent, get a vehicle to move around, food, shelter. If you have family, if you have already kids, you have to maintain, support your kids and family. So it can get really overwhelming and stressing, right? And after today, I was reading an article where a lot of the millennial homeowners that were actually lucky enough to buy homes after the 2008 crash, or not crash, recession, and they were able to, the fortunate ones that were able to afford, I don't know, I guess by the, they were able to strap up some money and buy their homes. They're, the majority of them are, we call this house rich but cash poor. They're basically at the end of the month don't have enough to either save or invest. They're basically getting all their needs met when it comes to shelter, food, and transportation. But when it comes to having some extra money to be able to save and invest, they're not able to do it because of their student loans and student loan debt and their mortgages, right? So I think in correlation with this video where having the government pay off your student loans, I think will help a lot of millennials, especially millennials, because I think we were kind of the population where we kind of jumped into the school marketing situations where they taught us or sold us that school loans are the best way to educate yourself, and don't worry about it. After school, you're gonna be able to pay this off at an easy pace. And we actually bought those marketing commercials. I am one of those. I think our Gen Zers are a little bit more educated. They see the millennials, what we're going through, what we've are complaining about, what we're kind of sending out to the country, where a lot of us are struggling with student loans and are basically working to pay off our student loans. And I think Gen Zers are becoming a little bit more selective. I'm not saying they are. They're still going to school, a lot of them, but they become more selective on whether it makes sense to take out $50,000 loan for a job paying $30,000 a year, right? Let's just be honest. It's just the way it is. So they're just taking their calculations and calculating their risk, whether it's worth the returns of taking that risk. And we, the millennials, we are teaching our Gen Zers whether they want to take that risk or not, and that's option that they're gonna take on themselves. And it's hopefully they make the best decision for themselves. So again, every career is different. Some careers you need school, exactly, obviously, lawyers, doctors, engineers, things that obviously they need education. There's not, you can't just go on the job and learn how to become a doctor And when people's lives are at stake, right? We need to have educated doctors come into our offices and hospitals with experience and on hands-on experience as well, but knowing what they're doing in a sense as far as treating lives of people. You're not changing, uh, you're not changing a piece of furniture. You're changing somebody's maybe uh, you're probably changing people's body parts, right? So we are talking about different criteria. So I think student loans, for me especially, my experience with student loans, it definitely makes you think differently about where you're going to be spending your money, right? You might not want to go and get that car loan. You might not want to go and buy a home. You might not be able to afford to buy a home because you're paying your student loans. So you're not able to save for your home and you're not able to save for your vehicle. So it does create this kind of, in a way, uh, lifestyle that all you work is going towards student loans. And I am, only speaking from my experience, again, if individuals that have help from their family, mom, dad, great. Maybe they have some grants. They were able not to have that much student loans, great. But for those, especially for me, minorities and urban community that we came from, first in my first generation immigrant parents, for me, college was a way to be the first one in my family, right? To become a graduate, to have a degree, and obviously, parents didn't save for no college. Parents didn't have no 529 plans for me. It was basically what I was willing to take out for myself and loans that I was had to basically take out myself to educate myself. And I don't regret it as far as at the end of the day, it's what I knew, I didn't know. But at the same time, um, obviously we live in a different world, different generation now as far as different technology. Back in 2007, we didn't have all of these things we have now. But it's something that I think a lot of us should think about, right? If you're Gen Z and you're watching this video, think about that. At the end of the day, we see a lot of millennials that are right now, like myself, we didn't buy a house because we couldn't. We wanted to, but at the same time, we had student loans and we have all these obligations that were kind of not really thought about when we first left college. If you're just going to college now and you're trying to take out some student loans, think about the repercussions in the future. And in the meantime, it feels really easy. You're doable. You got it. But understand what you're gonna get into. If I was to do it all over again, I would have researched more. I would have maybe even taken a couple of months off from school. Maybe got an intern at that particular job that I wanted to work first, somehow, some way, maybe work in a low level job and just see in the environment what the position does, shadow the position, and understand if I really want to get into that before I take off these massive amount of loans. Because once you do that and you're at this job or at this career where you don't like, you're not going to be able to leave. You're kind of stuck, right? You already invested 50, 60, 70, $100,000 in these loans that you have to find a way to pay off. So that's my rant on that. But as far as the government paying off student loans, I think it would be an awesome way to let a lot of the millennials off on what they were sold, which was this false idea that with these loans, they would be able to pay them off with their great jobs and still be able to function, still be able to buy a house, still be able to buy cars, and add on top of that the student loans. And that would be a problem. And as we see now with this article, it was not the truth, right? Student loans burden a lot of millennials. Even though they have their homes, they're not able to save for a future. They're not able to save for an expense, unrelated expense, maybe something breaks in the house, without going into debt. And I think, as we all know in this channel, we've been studying and learning, debt is not going to help you move forward, especially if it's bad debt, as far as a wealth building journey. And it's only going to keep us stuck in our homes and working those jobs until we die, because we have to still be able to pay off all that debt, right? So I think personally, again, from my take, obviously the government is still thinking about this, but imagine if you have loans right now and the government just came and said, hey, listen, you don't have to pay us back. Your monthly payments are already taken care of. Move forward what you want to do. Imagine the opportunities that you would have, right? Imagine opportunities that would give you. What would you want to do? Where would you want to put your money? I'm hoping that you're going to start investing it and saving it. But maybe you might want to go and do something with that money. Maybe you might this year might take a vacation. Maybe you might upgrade your car with extra money, aside from saving and investing. But maybe it would give a little jump start to the economy in a sense. Maybe that's my belief. Everybody's different. But again, and we gotta look at it as far as the company and all the government loans that were given out. How would that affect the government, right? Because does that mean that all of these loans were made up? Because if they have all these notes out and the government pays them off, how does that affect the government? I don't know. I really don't understand that. I'm not an economics major, but as far as understanding where we stand as millennials, I know a lot of millennials, including myself, we are burdened by student loans. Student loans are part of our lives. It's kind of like owning a smartphone. It's like just part of who we are. Most millennials are not going to be caught without a smartphone, right? But and at the end of the day, does it really help us? And again, I know a lot of stories where people have taken out great education and they have got great careers and it's worked out wonderful for them. But I think for the most part, a lot of us that took out student loans, most of us are not even working in those fields that we took out degrees in. And that's begs the question, were the student loans worth it? And that's a personal question from you. But right now, millennials are, I think, struggling when it comes to their finances. They might not say it, they might not talk about it, but we are a generation from the generation X before us that didn't have to really deal with this, right? They didn't have to deal with student loans. They didn't have to deal with all these high subscription, all that stuff. Like I said in my last videos, they were just working to build and they didn't have much obstacles. Obviously, everybody has obstacles, but I think they didn't have so much these social norms of that hindered them for 15, 10, 20 years out. I think student loans are going to be part of the economy, but at the same time, it kind of hinders a lot of individuals, especially if they want to go buy a house, maybe buy a car, maybe invest, save. They're not able to do it because of these student loans are taking a big chunk of their savings. Again, so a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, listen, just get an extra job, spend less on whatever, that's great. But at the same time, some people are doing that and still not able to save, invest, or even save for a rainy day because of these student loans. So hopefully the government gets to act together. Hopefully something comes through and helps a lot of the millennials right now that are struggling with student loans and student loan debt. I would love to hear your comments down below. Let me know, what do you think should happen, how they should handle it, and whether you're a part of the millennial population that has student loans. See you guys next time. Peace.